You're listening to Comic Reflections, episode 149. I'm your host, Nicholas Prom.
And I'm still Spencer Valdez.
Still?
Still.
Okay. Consistent, that's Spencer Valdez. Comic Reflections is brought to you by Rhymes with Geek. You can check out this podcast, plus several other cool shows like The All New Anti-Fanboy, Feed It Comics, and Super Podcasto Magnifico at rhymeswithgeek.com. Comic Reflections is also available on backissueheroes.com, the home of classic comics on the web. And if you enjoyed this show, please subscribe to us on either iTunes or Stitcher.
You've got a mouthful in there.
I know. I got to find to trim it down or maybe put some at the bottom of the show.
Well, no, it's good. I like it.
Yeah.
You get the information out in the beginning, and we get to talk about cool stuff the rest of the time.
Oh,
Not
you're saying
that the
that
other stuff isn't cool.
Yeah. Okay.
But you are listening to the most important podcast on the internet.
Oh my God, how pretentious can you get? So anyway, we're going to talk about Green Lantern number 12.
Fine.
And the lead story is called Green Lantern's Statue Goes to War.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. John Broome wrote this story.
No.
Yes. Gil Kane did the pencils, and Joe Giella inked it. So, last week, I was saying, like, oh, that's a neat story with Green Lantern going to the future. That'll never happen again.
Oh.
And he gets yanked back to the future.
He does get...
We gotta get back to the future, Hal! Again, by these people that make him the Galactic Inquisitor or whatever. The Solar Director.
Yeah.
I am the Pan-Galactic Inquisitor! No, not that.
Not that.
Yeah. To solve some other problem of theirs that's not as cool as the last one.
Right. Because the Green Lantern Solar Director has been missing for 2 years.
Right. It's 2 years later in their time. Mm-hmm. Probably not in Hal's time.
Oh, okay.
You know how time travel is funky. They could pull him out. They could get him right after he charged up his ring again.
Totally.
From the last time. So,
again. But he's combing his hair.
He finds this little piece of metal, and it's confusing because there's no known metal.
Right. Yeah. It's not of Earth,
which is a thing I want to get back to at the end of this story.
Okay.
But go ahead.
So yeah, and he immediately starts thinking about the time his ring lost power after just an hour.
Right, and he had lost. We know that he lost memory and time.
Right.
But Hal didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, and they returned him back at the moment he left, but...
Right, yeah.
But yeah.
So he is the most celebrated Solar Director. He defeated the Zegors.
Right.
And
who were adorable.
Right.
Gila monster people.
Yeah. And so he's the most celebrated Solar Director, but within our solar system, some of the generals from the other planets in the year 5700 have decided to rebel against this solar galactic government thing. And so they come to the decision they have to bring the Solar Director back, which gets is her name Iona?
Yes.
Gets Iona pretty excited because she's been pining after him for
2 years.
2 years, yeah.
Yeah. So Hal comes back, and of course they have this whole constructed life for him, which is weird. I don't know why they don't just ask him for his help. Yeah. He is a hero. He'd probably say yes.
Right.
Yeah. But I like his name, Paul Manning, P-O-L, is his pretend alter ego in the future. So, but anyway, he's going to help quell this rebellion.
Yeah. So the solar panel is what I'm going to call them.
Really?
They got a note from these three, the Junta, the General Bassett, General Carning, and General Nevand or Vard.
Yeah.
Okay. Saying, hey, unless Star City surrenders to us, they're going to destroy it completely. And Green Lantern...
That's not very nice.
It's not. Even in the year 5700, it's not very nice.
Mm.
And so...
Shouldn't it be 5702?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Come on, John Broom. I expect more from you.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm kidding, of course.
So we have the Pluto Legionnaires,
Which
with
is not the Legion of Superheroes.
No.
Which is too bad.
The Parlo pistols. I think they.
Ugh. Their costumes look kind of like the Weaponers of Quard. Kind of.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
I mean, they don't have those goofy, like, weird eyes that they have.
Yeah. But yeah, so a legion has shown up, and they're starting to attack settlements and things.
I just realized the Quardians, they kind of look like the cloaked aliens from the movie Killers from Space with Peter Graves. It's a bad, bad movie.
Okay.
But that pop-eyed look is what made me think of that. So anyway.
Yeah. So the Pluto Legionnaires are attacking, and Hal Jordan, or excuse me, Green Lantern, takes off, and he's like, "I'll take care of them." And as he's taking off, he passes a statue that was built in his honor.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh yeah, I heard about that. I got to live up to my stature here."
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of where the first part of this story kind of leaves off.
Right.
So we got a little history, we got a little
recap from the other story, but so he leaps into action and he captures the 3 generals who are leading the rebellion.
Right.
And turns them in, but nobody knows but Iona. And this guy Aldebaran shows up, and that name is really oddly familiar.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a heavy metal band called that.
Oh.
So I think it must be a name from mythology or something. I meant to look it up, but I didn't. But anyway, but this guy knows that he captured those guys, but Hal realizes he hadn't told anybody by Iona.
Yeah.
So this guy is like, what's up with this guy? And he's a magician, so he sucks.
Yeah. I will say, he goes in to meet the Solar Director, Green Lantern, the Aldebaran.
Under the pretense of, I want to help quell the rebellion too.
Yeah. And I think part of why he kind of turns out to be terrible is because Green Lantern kind of a jerk to him. He's unimpressed with his magic tricks. He's
illusions.
Thank you, Burt Wonderstone.
Joe Bluth.
Yeah. And he kind of turns his tricks against him.
Okay.
And sends him out his door without a second thought. And I'm like, hey, Green Lantern.
You know.
You're probably a busy guy. I get it.
But kindness is a thing.
Yeah, totally.
So.
And so he...
like, why be a jerk to somebody if you don't have to be?
Right.
And you don't ever have to be. So, anyway. But...
Yeah, so he mind probes the generals again, which obviously has no effect on their rank.
No. Of course not.
And
it's good for you.
He finds he finds out they went to a show of Aldebaran.
Okay. Oh, where he performed.
Yeah, but they can't remember anything after that.
Right.
And so we kind of figure out that, maybe Aldebaran is not just a magician, but rather the orchestrator of these 3 generals.
The rebellion, yeah. And they were just the fall guys for him.
Right.
So he wanted to, like, go in with Green Lantern and be like, hey, can I help stop the rebellion? To cover his ass.
Yes.
Okay.
So it makes me feel less bad for him when Hal or Green Lantern was a jerk.
Yeah. So Hal figures all that stuff out and beats him up.
Well, he goes to take him out, but Aldebaran is watching him the whole time.
He uses some weapon or some magic against him, and so Green Lantern can't fight him directly, so he uses his statue. He animates his statue.
Yeah.
And has the statue punch him in the face.
Yeah, which is really cool.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and so Aldebaran he's kind of captured, and then he also kind of quells the. Oh no, it's Aldebaran shooting him with the statue with the weird gun, the missile pistol.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Green Lantern captures him, puts him away in jail or to the proper authorities. Envy and hatred, that's what drove Aldebaran on to his downfall.
Yeah.
You know.
And then so Iona is sad because Hal has to go back to the past
Yeah.
and forget her.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, woo, 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 you know, sad, like chicks get.
Yeah.
And then so we go back to the scene where Hal is back, like at the moment he left, and that little piece of metal he found in his hair that was not of earthly origin, he puts it in a drawer and forgets about everything. And we know it was from like the foot of that statue.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of, and I'll answer my own question, but what kind of was like, why was this of a metal not of earthly origin? But then I realized this is after like the Federation of Planets or whatever they have in the Legion.
Yeah.
And of course, obviously, stuff from not Earth is here during that time. Shut up. Not that Federation. But
nerds.
It doesn't get any nerdier than the Legion.
No?
Than Legion fandom, no.
Okay.
I really don't think so. But anyway, I think that's why.
Yeah,
because stuff. That's the reason.
Right, yeah. Because stuff.
Yeah. So...
What's our backup story?
The backup story is 0 Hour in the Silent City.
Right.
Right. And any story that starts with 0 Hour, whoa.
Yeah.
So this was written by John Broome, penciled by Gil Kane, inked by Joe Giella. No surprise there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they have a long run on this book, so I mean that's good.
Yeah.
You know.
So this story kind of takes place from the perspective of Pieface.
Yeah.
He's kind of chronicling the tales of Hal Jordan.
Yeah, he's got a case book that he's writing for no one.
Right.
Because he's the keeper of a secret identity.
Yeah.
In fact, making this is kind of like, whoa, what if one of Hal's enemies stumbled across this?
Right.
And I'm sure that'll happen.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's a story that we'll end up reading.
Yeah, so he starts off, Hal's had a long day. He went to a ball game, had a date with Carol.
Yeah.
And then...
he had to take her home early because...
He had a great idea.
Oh, to fix... Because he was working on this plane, and he was having an issue with a new experimental plane. He had an issue with, like, the wing.
Yeah,
he was having some stress on it, or too much wind resistance or something.
Yeah.
So he got an idea how to solve that problem.
And again, Carol is upset. She's like, I know he's a good employee, but darn it, I didn't want to come in early.
Yeah.
You know what, Carol? He's making you money. Maybe shut your trap.
Yeah, I wouldn't maybe so go that far, but she is so capricious. Yeah.
Right, so Hal is heading back to through Coast City.
Yeah. And he gets stuck in traffic.
Right.
And he's mad because he's like, oh, I don't have enough... if I hadn't had to change the Green Lantern, I won't have much charge. I might run out of juice. And he notices all the people around him have gone silent. And then people are freaking out about that. All the sound is not registering.
Right. So he's hoping he can, figure this all out within...
the maybe an hour that he's got left.
And so he's kind of going around searching buildings and stuff, and he finds that there's this weird sound wave coming from one of the buildings up higher on the street.
That's canceling out all this sound.
Right.
Is it to cover their robbery or something?
I think it's just their special drill.
Right. Okay.
I don't know if they knew the effect would be, canceling out all the sound.
Right, and the drill is to open up safes. Of course.
It's the ultra high speed supersonic drill.
Right.
It's slicing into the steel like butter.
Like butter.
Yeah. So Hal pops in.
Okay.
He only has a little bit of time left in his power ring.
Right.
And he gets kind of clocked.
Yeah, they get the drop on him. He just...
Yeah. And as soon as they're pulling his guns, he pops up. He
makes their bullets explode.
Yeah, and turns them into
boxing gloves. And punches them all out.
Yeah.
Then he calls the cops.
Yep.
And it was like his last bit of juice.
Yeah.
So...
His 0 hour. Because he had 0 power left in his life.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and that's the story kind of just ends there. With Pieface saying, "I've got to chronicle all these 0-hour events."
Right. Because stuff.
Yeah. Again, we just kind of end because stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
But that's fine.
Yeah.
You know.
In my opinion, this issue was a little boring.
Yeah. It was kind of.
Even the main story in it.
It was just a rehash of that other better story.
Yeah, the first one was way better. It just seemed like they were like, oh, that worked once.
Just try it again.
Yeah, and then they just swung and miss.
But you know what? You'll always have that dud issue.
Yeah.
You know, I'd still rather read this than a lot of other things.
Right. Aquaman. No,
it's
a sweet jab to our friend over at the Aquaman
Jordan.
podcast.
Just Jordan. It's not, don't call it the Aquaman podcast. We just happen to, it's this show.
Right.
We just happen to be reading Aquaman, and it's just like pulling teeth for me.
I thought it was called Aquaman Reflections.
No! It will never be called that. Oh.
Right.
I hope, yeah.
It would be sponsored by Bland Foods.
Oh my gosh.
Saltine crackers.
By Jeremy Irons cereal. There's no toys or sugar, just cardboard.
So where I thought this first issue was a little boring.
Man, the next and last one we're going to talk about for this episode is awesome,
Yeah.
baby!
I got really stoked when I saw the cover.
Yeah, and let me tell you, I want to take our sweet-ass time talking about this issue because it's a good one.
Yeah.
It's Green Lantern number 13, and this is the no backup feature. This is the book-length tale.
Right.
It's the Duel of the Superheroes, and it's co-starring The Flash.
Yes. Do you want to give us who wrote and drew? And
Yes,
this?
I will do that. That very thing. John Broome wrote this.
Oh.
Yeah. Gil Kane did the great pencils, really, and Joe Giella inked it.
Yeah.
I don't on this.
Yeah, I don't want to make that like the forever the running gag.
Yeah.
But let's get it out of our system now. Like, oh, Joe Giella, really? So yes.
So this story starts with Barry Allen and Iris West.
Yes.
Because they're not married yet.
It's correct. They're boyfriend and girlfriend.
Aww.
Back in Central City,
Mm-hmm.
Which is, if you're watching TV, it's totally Portland, Oregon.
Right. Yeah.
At least in the opening credits. I don't think like the actual stuff in this.
Well, so when he's running through the city, it's the over the like
when you see him crossing the bridges and the like the opening shot of the Flash show, it's Portland, Oregon.
Yeah. And during the show, when he's when you're looking down on the city, it's still Portland.
Yeah.
Right. But the show is not made here. The other scenes and everything else, all the other settings are not Portland.
Right.
I got a helicopter one
We
day.
mentioned this because we live in this beautiful city of Portland.
Right.
Which we love very much.
They make that stupid show Grimm here.
That it has
Grim
a big
Grim.
following, which is really surprising to me.
God, it's so
because
dumb.
It's not very good.
But yeah, anyway.
Visit Portland. It's great.
But Grimm sucks.
So we start with
Unless
Barry
you
and
like
Iris. And Iris has an interview with Hal Jordan, the crackpot pilot.
The crack test pilot. He's not a crackpot.
Right, crack pilot of Thursday.
Yeah, different.
Yes.
Different. That one syllable changes the meaning a lot. So, things.
Right. So something that they kind of talk about as the Flash and Green Lantern is that they're already part of the Justice League.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that yet.
Because this is 1962, and the Justice League formed, well, at least debuted in 1960 in The Brave and the Bold, number 28.
Okay.
Yes. And it's so weird though because that first issue, they're just already a team. There's no explanation.
Really?
They're just a team. It wasn't like until because they had a few issues in Brave and the Bold, and then they got their own book.
Right.
And even then, it was like a little while before they decided like, how did the Justice League form and like do that story?
Right. Yeah.
So, but yeah.
The modern,
different than how we would think the story goes now.
The modern interpretation is they don't even want to be a team, and they are like shoved together, and there's animosity.
Not the Justice League, but other. Are you talking about like the New 52 version of the League?
Yeah.
I don't even think about that. I try not to, but
yeah.
But super teams in general, I tend to think of. Yeah, we get how they become a team. That's the first part.
Yeah.
But maybe not so much in the past.
Right.
So it's okay.
Yeah. So Barry and Iris are taken off to Star City.
Coast City.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay.
A couple issues ago.
There's a lot of made up cities in DC Comics. In fact, I think nearly all of them are. Because there's Central City with the Flash, Star City with Green Arrow, obviously Gotham and Metropolis, and I can't remember who lives there.
One Atlantis, of course.
Right. Hey, no, that's real.
Right.
I don't want to bring that up again.
I'm
you know how heated I get about that.
I'm trying to remember. I'm blanking on the city that Hawkman is in. Do you remember? Dead air.
Yeah, sorry.
Tulsa.
It's not Tulsa. It is on the tip of my tongue, and I can't think of it. I'll just blurt it out later.
Good.
Yeah, that'll be perfect. I'll be like, oh, it's this! So, anyway.
So we when we kind of transition over to Green Lantern, he's flying through space after he got a message. He needed to solve some crime and
space crime.
Yeah. But he's like kind of testing out his powers a little bit. He's just kind of messing around with them, and he's like, "Hey, the more I focus on how fast I can go, the faster I go."
Yeah, that's usually how that works.
Right. And so he's testing it out.
Yeah.
In space.
And he goes to the wrong planet.
Well, yeah. So he hits light speed.
Right.
And when you hit light speed, you're traveling in weird dimension stuff, according to Green Lantern.
Yeah.
And in a parallel universe, a second planet, Earth-ish planet, is kind of in the same track as our Earth. And when you hit the speed of light at a certain time of day on that planet, you can actually cross through and appear on their planet. You can be on their planet.
Now, is any of this ringing familiar at all to you? No? This doesn't sound familiar at all, this concept? Should. Because think of the DC Comics multiverse, pre-Crisis, okay? All the different parallel Earths, Earth 1, Earth 2, Earth Prime, and so on. Mm-hmm. They occupy the same space, but on different vibrational planes.
Right.
And so when you can get the sweet spot of the vibrations or whatever, when you're feeling the vibe of the folks,
right?
You can travel to the other parallel Earths.
Yeah.
So, and this is playing on, I think, that concept. But I want to know, dang it, because I want to know if this is contemporaneous with, because I just thought of it. Otherwise, I would have looked it up for my notes. If this is contemporaneous to the Flash of Two Worlds story.
Oh.
Do you have that trade in your house?
I might.
Let's take a quick break. Aha! You found your Flash Chronicles Volume 4 trade.
Yep.
And the Flash of Two Worlds is from, of course, Flash number 123. Mm-hmm. This is the story that establishes the multiverse. And, okay, the story we're reading is, the Green Lantern story we're reading is from 1962. the Flash story, this is the beginning of the whole multiverse, it's from the September of 1961 issue. So yes, that has been established, and I think this is still playing on that concept.
Gotcha.
Yes, the day is mine. Oh, I'm so thrilled. Okay, goody. So we can move on now.
Yeah. So, Green Lantern literally crashes into this planet.
Yeah.
And when he kind of comes to, he's kind of laying on a gurney, and some scientists are looking at him, and they're like, "Hey, you crash landed here."
But they know totally what's up.
Yeah.
Which should be a red flag.
Absolutely. And so they give him information on, hey, here's how you get back. You only have a little time left in your power. We're able to watch Earth from where we are. We have that technology. And we know that you have to power up your ring every 24 hours.
Yeah.
You need to get back soon.
It's creepy how much they know about him.
Right.
Again, red flags. Hal's kind of a dumbass sometimes.
Here's your favorite cocktail.
Right?
So it does mention that he's a little suspicious of him.
Okay.
It
but
says,
not very suspicious.
It seems they do want to help me. I must get over my silly fears about these people.
Right.
So he has a weird feeling, but he's like, nah.
I love Hal's expression in this panel.
Yeah.
I don't know how to read what that expression is,
Yeah.
but it seems it's so strange.
I kind of wanted to mention facial stuff in this issue because for some reason I really noticed the faces in this. I don't know if they just did a lot more close-ups of the face, but you can really see the emotion on the faces of the people.
Let me tell you, this is one of Gil Kane's strongest qualities as an artist, is really capturing facial expressions. And we're seeing this really grow here.
Yeah.
I mean, when you get to like his stuff like closer to the end of the decade and in the 70s, wow.
Right.
He is really masterful with facial expressions. He's good here. He's great later.
Yeah.
You know,
there's one panel where Hal is very angry, and you can really see it in the art.
I mean, Gil Kane is one of those artists who he never plateaued. If at all, you could say maybe in the 70s, but he just continued to get better and better throughout his career.
Right.
And he had a career that spanned from the 40s until the very early 1990s.
Wow.
You know, I mean, that's massive.
Yeah.
I mean, he worked. How many decades is that? 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Okay.
Almost 6 decades.
6 decades, probably a 50-year career.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And he's become one of my favorite artists.
Right.
When I was a kid, I didn't really appreciate him. But how wrong I was.
As a fan of comic books and a fan of the art in comic books, you expect your artists to grow somewhat over
but
their
some
career.
people get bad.
Right.
Carmine Infantino is an example of that. Great in the good in the golden age, and he grows as an artist. And the Silver Age, he's great. But by the mid to late 70s and in the 80s, his stuff is just it continues to change, but it changes in a bad way.
Right.
It just kind of he becomes real just crappy. I don't know. And kind of like, I don't want to look at this.
Oh.
And that's, for a comic book artist, that's a terrible thing to be able to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Carmine Infantino in the Silver Age, but boy, is he lousy in like the later chapter of his career.
Wow.
The every artist has distinct things that they do, their own flourishes. They become more pronounced, and what were strengths earlier on become weaknesses. They become liabilities.
Wow.
Later. Yeah. So, anyway, enough of that rant on Carmine Infantino. Let's get back to this.
Right. So, Hal ends up saying, all right, I'll trust you. I got to get out of here. Yeah. But the last portion of this part of the story, the the sectarians. No, what are they called?
Aren't they like the
Sartarians, Spectarians.
Spectarians? Yeah.
Their kind of leader is like wringing his hand. He's like, now that we've gotten Green Lantern, we know that we can get the Flash, and we can finally study his
super speed, and they want to, because they want to get the super speed and then conquer the world, conquer the Earth.
Right.
Which I think it's funny. They're like, Green Lantern, we don't care about. He doesn't really. He's just a pawn to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When he's pretty ding dang powerful, but I guess they know they can't harness or exploit the power of the ring. Maybe.
Oh, maybe.
You know.
I guess if they've watched him.
Yeah, well, because they know they can't. They probably can't duplicate the power battery.
Right.
Or the ring's power, so it's useless to them.
Right.
Other than to try and play him against the Flash.
The Flash, right.
So, okay.
Which
is what they do.
Duel of the Superheroes Part 2.
Yes.
Continuation. Green Lantern kind of lands, and he's gotten back from this parallel universe, and he kind of confides in Pieface, hey, this is what's going on. And he needs to power up his ring, and it's different. He says, in brightest day, in blackest night, all evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might fear not my power, Green Lantern's light.
Which is creepy, and Pieface is right there like, that's not the words.
Right, but he doesn't say anything.
But his inner monologue is, jumping fish hooks. Those aren't the words to his oath.
And kind of Green Lantern picks up on the vibe that Pieface is putting out. And he's like, what's the matter? And he's like, oh, you better change your clothes. You got to get out of here. He's like, oh, yeah. So because you have that meeting with...
They're all going to go to the Sea Palace with Turga and Carol.
Right.
And there are when they get there, it's like a beachside house where the pool. And why do you have a pool at the beach? You notice that?
Yeah.
That's kind of weird. But anyway, Barry Allen and Iris West are in town, and they're guests of Carol's.
Yeah. Because of the interview.
Right. Right.
They all hop in the pool, having a good time. And
Hal and Barry get talking.
Yeah, and Barry mentions Central City, and Hal's face contorts into this very angry. The Flash, he's from Central City, isn't he? And it kind of creeps Barry Allen out because
he's like, well, yeah,
the Flash. And
what's wrong with that?
And Barry Allen wanted to go to Coast City to maybe see Green Lantern,
right? Because in the JL. The Justice League, they're buddies.
Yeah, but they don't know each other's secret identities.
Right.
But he's like, hey, my pal in the League is there.
Yeah.
And it's... Yeah, at this time, the League, their fortress is in like a mountain.
Oh.
The satellite comes in the 70s and in the early 80s. And then they have the stupid Detroit League in the mid-80s, right before Crisis.
Right. Detroit wasn't
the Detroit League. It's just such a.
They lost in the bankruptcy.
Was Guy Gardner?
No, Guy Gardner doesn't become a leaguer until post-Crisis.
Oh, okay.
And that's the Justice League International with where it gets hilarious. But no, the Detroit League is Aquaman, Elongated Man, Zatanna, and Martian Manhunter. Okay, cool. And then all these lame people like Gypsy and Vibe and Vixen. Vixen's getting her own animated series. It's a web exclusive. That. I'm like, hey, that's okay.
It's the same universe as CW's Arrow and Flash.
Yeah,
right?
So that's interesting.
Yeah, because it's going to be animated, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be kind of weird.
But it's also, I think, a web exclusive or something.
Okay.
But
it could be cool. Them expanding that universe.
Yeah,
totally.
It's good. It looks like they're already talking about giving the Atom a spin-off.
Yeah.
So, I haven't been keeping...
And, what's his name? Firestorm.
Yeah.
Atom and Firestorm.
You know that they're going to do a TV league.
Oh, yeah.
With those guys and Black Canary and then, like, I don't know, but they'll have, like, 5 or 6 of them and do a TV Justice League. It just won't have the Trinity.
Yeah. Okay.
You know? Whatever.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
If if Constantine's not using Zatanna, why can't they bring in Zatanna?
Absolutely.
You know, have
Yeah.
more than one chick on the team.
Yeah.
Please. Oh, and they've mentioned Ralph Dibny in the particle accelerator
Yeah.
thing. It was just an offhand comment. So, like, yes, elongated man.
Right.
So there's your TV league.
Boom.
There you go. Zatanna's a long shot because I'm sure they're going to use her on Constantine.
If
But
they
then
don't, I'd be
again,
very surprised.
who's to say that both shows can't have her?
Right. It'd be weird.
It'd
a
be
little
two
bit,
different people. But yeah. Anyway, let's get back to this story. So,
yeah, because it's so much fun.
so Hal and Barry, weirdness.
Yeah. And Hal decides to kind of go take a walk.
Yeah.
And he
So
kind of leaves.
And of course, Barry follows him.
Well, not yet. Pieface confronts Barry and says, "Hey, you're a top scientist, right? Police scientist.
The science of police.
Right.
No, he's a police scientist.
There's something wrong with my buddy Hal. Would you mind helping me keep an eye on him? I got some stuff. He can't tell him his, the thing about the oath because then reveal his identity. But,
Right.
But Barry responds. He's like, "Yeah, totally. I'll keep an eye on him."
Yeah.
So later,
Not much later. So
Right.
Hal goes into this cave and he's going to change into Green Lantern. Obviously, he's under the influence of
something.
the Goofanoids, whoever are the villains of the piece are.
Spectarians, yeah.
Yeah. Aren't they the ones that they eat? They're vegetarians, but they eat seafood?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pescatarians.
Oh.
But anyway, so Barry follows Hal and sees, oh, he's Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Changed into Green Lantern. And then, of course, Barry opens up the ring and out pops the costume. That's one of the craziest but awesomest things.
And they use it forever. Like, it's not something that, it's just silly,
It's not something that they swept under the rug, like, oh, let's try to forget that Silver Age stuff. No, they still use that in current comics. If there was a way to do it on the TV show, I wish they would.
They kind of showed it with Reverse Flash, because he had the power ring and he had his suit in there, and he shot his suit.
I'd missed that. I didn't notice that.
It was the very end of the season finale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The Reverse Flash, he had his costume come out of the ring. Oh, that's great. I can't believe I didn't notice that.
He popped it out and it went onto like a mannequin.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Barry doesn't have it yet, but
right.
Sooner or later, obviously.
Yeah, we gotta stop talking about the TV.
We do.
Okay, so they're in the cave. Hey, the Flash shows up. Hey, Green Lantern, I want to help you. If you'll tell me... Yeah. And then Green Lantern attacks the Flash.
Look, kind of going back to what we said, look at Green Lantern's face in that bottom panel.
Yeah.
And, how angry he looks and how much he wants
crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Again, this is just great art in this. It really popped out to me in this issue.
Yeah, no. Gil Kane's great.
And so we have this awesome chase through...
the cave.
A cave, through the city. We have the Flash doing this cool whirlwind thing.
He kicks up a dust storm to try to, put up kind of a smoke screen to slow down Green Lantern or whatever.
Yeah. But still, Green Lantern's able to keep up with him.
So what Barry does is he ducks off to an alley and puts his uniform back in the ring because Green Lantern doesn't know his secret ID, so he can just walk away.
Right.
And kind of regroup and figure out what he's going to do.
Yeah, and so this kind of angers Green Lantern, and kind of a dick move. He makes it look like a giant tidal wave is coming,
right,
to destroy the city, and so that this draws out the Flash. The Flash kind of tries to go take care of it,
right,
and
the Flash, erects a sand barrier to stop the tidal wave,
right,
and then Green Lantern catches up with him. Flash grabs a beach umbrella and uses it as a shield. Oh, wait, it's yellow.
Right.
And, of course, due to a necessary impurity in the materials from which it was made, Green Lantern's power ring has no effect on anything yellow.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So there's that.
Yeah.
Issue 1.
So Green Lantern knows he can't catch up with the Flash, So he uses the ring to make his body weird. Like, he make his head huge and his legs scrawny and he's real top heavy.
Right.
To slow him down.
Which is part of Barry's plan. The Flash's plan.
Really?
Yeah, he says, I'm never going to be able to help Green Lantern.
So he lets him be caught.
Yeah.
Right.
But then he does this weird head growing thing.
And that was on the cover of the book too.
Yeah.
Like, what the heck? But it's pretty cool.
Right.
So Green Lantern, obviously still under the influence of the Pescatarians, the Spectarns, brings the Flash back to their lair of evil and mad science. Yeah. And they're going to study him because they're going to get the secret of his super speed and equip themselves with super speed and conquer the Earth.
Yeah, so they can travel through the parallel universe barrier.
Yeah.
And come through and...
Was it they had trouble traveling through the barrier?
They just couldn't reach the speeds. That,
I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah.
So they were able to lure Green Lantern. Okay.
Yeah.
Now it makes the sense.
The Flash is being held down by radiation, so he's definitely getting cancer too.
Man.
And Green Lantern comes back.
Radiation does cure cancer too.
Right. So maybe the Flash had cancer.
And not anymore. Okay.
Maybe it was that special.
Oh my gosh. So bad.
So Hal Jordan comes back and his mind is totally erased. This has happened way too many times to him. It's got to start affecting.
I'm just thinking, if you're a superhero and you're not invulnerable like Superman, your career, you're getting way too many hits to the head or mind wiped or crazy. Like, you would eventually just go nuts.
Yeah.
Or you would be like, those boxers when they get old, or football players, they get kind of dumb because their brain kind of gets soft and spongy. Like the punchy... Can you just punch-drunk superheroes?
Yeah.
Can you imagine, middle-aged Justice League being like that, and then just getting killed because they're just, don't think good no more?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. So
that is a thing that would happen.
With Hal Jordan and Green Lantern.
Yeah, so.
And so he comes back to Ferris Air, and Pieface is there. He's like, dude, where did you go? You've been gone for a whole day. You're missing out with Carol. You had an interview,
and he doesn't remember any of it. He's like, "Who's Barry Allen?"
Right.
Like, oh man.
Yeah. So he takes off, because Pieface has kind of made up an excuse. Hey, you need to figure this out. I told the ladies you and Barry went fishing.
Right.
So he takes off and he says, you know what? I can't remember anything. Ring, what happened?
And of course, this is the fatal flaw in the villain's plan because the ring records all this stuff.
Right.
So they could erase his memory, but the ring keeps track of everything.
Yeah.
So the ring fills him in on what's happening. He's like, oh crap, I've been manipulated and used, to capture my friend.
Yeah.
And so he's going to race back to the Spectarns world and rescue the Flash.
Yeah, he's going to rescue the Flash. And the Flash he can't even vibrate himself to escape the...
Right, because they've got him in energy or something.
Yeah. And right when you think it's kind of the end for the Flash... Here comes Green Lantern smashing the beam that's holding him there.
Right. And then the Spectarns blast him with their ray guns.
Yeah.
Or blast Hal with the ray guns. But Flash gets up off the table and super punches them all super quick.
Yeah. Takes their weapons.
Yeah. And then it looks like Green Lantern and the Flash liberate the drones of the Spectarns because most of them were actually good.
Yeah, the Spectarns give up. The Flash or the Green Lantern calls them cowards at heart, and then he kind of makes the drones, promise me you're gonna do better than the last time. Promise. You need to pursue peace. Don't go bad.
They
but
destroy the machine that has able to duplicate or analyze the Flash's power.
right,
So that
but there's still a piece of paper that Green Lantern has that has all the information that the Spectrons were able.
But
to
then he burns it.
Yeah, destroys it.
Yeah.
Um,
And so they go back to Earth, and they split a peanut butter sandwich.
well, so the Flash says, "Hey, I know that Hal Jordan is Green Lantern, and it's only fair to reveal my secret identity to you."
Oh, right.
Well, I've always been curious, and so Barry tells Green Lantern that he is the Flash, and hey, they're good buddies.
Yeah.
And then we have another interaction with Crazy Carol.
Gosh, she's so crazy.
But the thing I wanted to mention,
Mm-hmm.
so at the very end of this issue, it says, "This is the first of a proposed series of stories between Green Lantern and the Flash working as a team. If you would like to see more of this dynamic duo in action, let us know." And
They do team up more.
yeah, no, I like that.
It's irregular, but
It makes me feel good as a reader, knowing that, I mean, not necessarily now, knowing that these people who are selling me comics want to know my opinion about things.
you know why? Because they want to sell you more comics.
Right.
But Julie Schwartz is a smart editor, smart enough to say, what do readers want? Let's give them that. We want to be creative and tell stories, but we also want to sell comic books.
Right.
So,
In my opinion today, the editors of DC and Marvel are like, eat this comic, and just shoving it down our throats, because you put the title Green Lantern on the book, it's going to draw me in.
of course, they just canceled like 3 Green Lantern titles.
Of course. You put Green Lantern on the book, it's going to draw me in, and then, crap, I have to read. I want to know more of the story. I have to read this one too. I have to read this one too. I have to. That's just money grabbing to me.
The crossover thing, and
And we talk about this every episode.
well,
And
I feel like we talk about it often enough, but the way the big two do these event books is terrible.
Right.
Because when these events started, they did it right. Marvel Heroes, Superheroes Secret Wars, and Crisis on Infinite Earths. They were 12-issue maxi series. You could buy just those and get the event. Mm-hmm. The books going on during those times might either reference that story,
right,
or have some tie-in, but you didn't need to get them to get that story. And then following the event or during that, the regular ongoing books, have the effects of that.
right.
Now you have to, it got so bad you have to buy like all these titles to get a whole story.
Yeah.
And that is a terrible cash grab.
Mm-hmm.
There's in fact, I think most comic books shouldn't be. They should do kind of what Dark Horse does. Like the Hellboy books, they don't have like it's a monthly book.
Right.
It's when I've got an idea for a good story, we're gonna do like here's a limited series.
Yeah.
And
same with like
instead
Baltimore
so instead of we gotta just grind out another issue this month because da 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
Hold off, increase the quality, and just publish something when you've got a good idea.
Yeah, I have a standing order with Things from Another World, and I say
you're a box holder.
Yeah, anytime there's a Baltimore book, put it in my box.
Yeah.
The title Baltimore, I know the quality is so good that I can just say that.
Yeah.
And be completely content.
Yeah.
Where the other books you get from the big two usually, I'm like, do I really want to get this next?
That's
issue?
the problem is I avoid these events like the plague, because I would like to read them, but I don't want to buy like every book in the line just to get this story, especially because it messes up writers who are working on an ongoing storyline in a regular book. Must get so frustrated to like, now I have to interrupt everything that I was doing to do this event, tie into that, and then have everything shaken up again every 3 to 6 months with another event.
I would say when it comes down to comic book readers, we are all mostly quality over quantity.
Right.
I
But as
think- I
a
think
business
you're-
model, you want people to buy quantity.
Of course.
But not when you're selling me, I have to spend $4 an issue,
hmm
and
The issue might not be very good, or it's so open-ended that it's like, this could be spread out over 3 different issues and be just fine.
yeah.
With a better story to go
Yeah.
along with it.
I mean, the appeal of comic books is, or in days of yore, it's like it was a cheap form of entertainment. You could spend $1 and get a bunch of comic books.
Yeah.
In the golden age and the silver age. When I started reading comics, they were like $1 was the cover price,
Right.
and I'm like, that would be amazing. But
Yeah.
when it switched from being on newsprint to being on this high gloss paper, which I actually don't like,
Uh-huh.
infinitely the price
Right.
gets higher, and so you have to spend more to get less.
Mhm.
I feel,
Yeah.
and especially when they could do this like, oh, you got to buy all these books to get the event. I wouldn't mind that so much if they were $1 a piece.
$1 a piece, yeah, totally.
But it's just too inexpensive a hobby to operate that way editorially.
Right.
Um,
And I know that, the price of making books has gone up. The price of
but I
doing
would just
things-
rather wait for the trade and get it all in one shot.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
This could go on we need to just end this.
Yeah. Totally.
Okay.